Okay, let's go.
Okay, welcome back to American Rants Unredacted. This is episode 20. So I've seen kind of an uptick on certain topics going around social media. I'm starting to see a lot of these recordings of doctors and nurses that are quitting the medical field. So we're going to go through a few of these. As you can see for the first one, the first clip right here, moral injury, you'll find out a little bit more about that and what that all entails of why some of these doctors and nurses are starting to quit their jobs. But yeah, let's go through these clips and we'll comment on a few of them. And yeah, so let's get started.
I want to talk about doctors leaving the practice of medicine. I practiced medicine for 50 years, and I'm a bioethicist. In my opinion, the hospitals believe that they can replace us with nurse practitioners and PAs, but they will leave eventually because the problem is the same. Many people who are leaving say they always wanted to be a doctor. I believe they always wanted to take care of patients, and now they find themselves taking care of the hospital, the insurance companies, even the lawyers. Insurance companies make us do things against our license, and we have stupid rules like one problem per visit. People don't come.
Yeah, I've always been a little curious about that, and hopefully someone here knows, and go ahead and leave it in the comments for me. I'm sure I could take the time to figure it out, but, I'd rather get engagement anyways. But I'm hearing reports that doctors, nurses, whatever, and like whatever the symptom is and whatever the procedure is to fix whatever illness or, pain or anything that is going on with that particular patient, they have to check insurance, okay? And first of all, insurance is a fucking joke. You can have, a relatively healthy family who never goes to the doctor because they either eat healthy, exercise, and I understand that accidents do happen. But that particular family, that particular plan, you're paying $3,000 or $2,000 a month plus $1,000 to $2,000 deductible if they go in, but that all adds up for years of not having to use the insurance, and the insurance is just taking this goddamn money and just bleeding us and bleeding us. Fortunately enough, like for me, my particular job actually handles that part, the medical insurance part, and I've never had as good insurance as I do as when I was in the military because it's all covered from the government. But what if some doctor says, hey, you know what, this person needs this surgery and this is why, and then the insurance company is like, no, I don't think that's what it is. What qualifies them to go ahead and say no to a doctor to a procedure that he may be, about 80 to 90% sure that this is going to fix the problem? Who gives them the qualifications to question the doctor who has the patient right in front of them, looking at the charts, looking at all this other crap? Why would they even get a say in it? And what happens to the insurance company if they deny the surgery and that person passes away?
That way, nobody has even just one problem. And even the first thing they say is often the real problem. You might have to ask a little bit to find out the real problem. I believe the medical industry has lost its soul and is losing its heart. Doctors are the face of this broken industry, and we may take the brunt of the anger and blame. And for nurses, it's the same but different. Hospitals treat patients like things, and now they're treating staff like things. We're furniture to be moved around and replaced when we wear out. My physician colleague was told by a hospital administrator, I don't need you, I need your license. When staff do treat patients like humans, they're going against the current, swimming upstream. Some can do it forever, but many can't. I couldn't. There comes a day when you can't do it anymore. This has been called burnout, but I don't really like that term. It's not really wrong, but it's not right either. It implies that we're weak, we don't measure up. It's a mental health issue. You're sick. I believe that institutions only believe that if they just hired asbestos people, there wouldn't be a problem. So I believe there are many reasons why doctors leave. One of them is moral injury. When you have to watch things being done that go against your moral beliefs, or you are required to do such things yourself, such as patients not getting care, denied by insurance, even a child dying after being denied care, people who can't afford copays and deductibles, and having to prescribe a cheaper medication because a patient can't afford a more expensive one that would work better. We may feel we're a square peg in a round hole, a human peg in a cold, uncaring world, or a human peg in an inhuman system. We may have to be face to face with a person who is not getting care and who has done their research and knows what is available that they're being denied. I believe we need to have a conversation around these issues, and I hope you'll join in that conversation.
Is it worth it becoming a doctor these days?
No.
Why not?
It's unrewarding. You don't get to spend time with patients. You deal with insurance companies. That's really your profession, not practicing medicine, not diagnosing and treating illness.
So most doctors are not even dealing with the patients, they're dealing with the paperwork shit?
Yes. I never saw patients when I was a doctor. I ran a laboratory. My partner saw the patients.
So let me ask you a question. For someone that wants to be a doctor, what would you tell them? What's some words of advice? What should they do?
Don't. It's just a bad profession, and it's only getting worse. As AI encroaches on the profession, as the costs rise and the government decides to fund only for physician assistants, it's just going to get more and more difficult to do anything related to what I would call the actual practice of medicine.
I'm finally going to quit medicine. Why? Well, guess what? Earlier today, I was at Nordstrom just checking out some of the makeup there because I lost my concealer recently. And the sales associate, who is a 10, beautiful woman, was helping color match my shade. And while we were just chatting it up, she was being such a girl's girl. She thought that I was a Pilates instructor for a living. Me? Yeah, I wish. I am simply a servant to society in medicine.
And that's bad. I mean, doctors and nurses are, I don't want to say like God, but they are superior people to life and death. And you'd rather be a Pilates instructor? Okay. So also, back on the previous clip about moral injury, if there's any doctors or nurses out there, leave me a comment. What is the line for your guys' moral injury? Or have you had to do something against your morals? And if you can share, let me know what it was.
But thank you for thinking I'm a baddie. And also thank you for beating my face down. I mean, I've never had makeup look this good on me. I've never had makeup look this good on me. Like, hello, who, her?
For physicians that practice emergency medicine, what is the #1 reason cited for leaving their specialty early? If you like this reel, give me a follow, comment, repost, and so forth. Get your medical information from a medical doctor, someone like me, not from an influencer. Well, I want to tell you about a recent report that was published of 46 physicians who practiced emergency medicine, surveyed in 2024-2025, they were all seriously considering leaving their specialty. Now, the great majority of them did. A few hung on as part-time emergency medicine docs. 3 actually hung on as full-time docs. What was the #1 reason cited for leaving or contemplating leaving? The growing mismatch between increasing clinical demands and stagnant resources that prevented them from providing safe, high-quality patient care. They basically couldn't practice medicine the way they knew that they should. And that is something called moral injury. Moral injury is pervasive in medicine now, particularly bad in emergency room medicine. Moral injury is when you are participating in or witnessing or being unable to prevent something that goes against your conscience, goes against your ethics, that you know is wrong. And for these doctors, it was the inability to practice medicine the way they knew that they should.
So not even just like the moral injury part. I saw a video and it kind of freaks me out a little bit just because I don't know the whole detail here, so I'm gonna like just paraphrase this a little bit. But apparently somebody was in for a surgery, and like during the surgery, when the chest is all open and all that, like the equipment went down because the hospital failed to pay the subscription for that particular instrument. And they had to call the representative to get it turned back on so they could finish the surgery. So like a previous video where I talked about everything's turning into a subscription, apparently equipment in hospitals is turning into a subscription as well. The world, it's getting crazy out there. AI taking over a lot of things. Pretty soon we're gonna have like those, those little med beds, and AI and all that's gonna be able just to fix us when we go in there. But I really think they need to keep subscriptions out of the hospital when it comes to equipment used for surgeries. Because if they're like on a time crunch under the gun here, so to speak, of trying to get the surgery done, I mean, how healthy could it be to have this person open longer than they need to be? It's crazy. It's wild. I don't know why they would operate that way or why we would have equipment like that for fucking surgery, but it's out there apparently.
Why are people, specifically doctors, leaving medicine? Well, being a doctor who's been in practice for the last at least 10 to 15 years, I would say that the medical industry in the world has changed dramatically, and not in a good way for doctors and healthcare providers. When I initially applied to medical school and decided to go into training to become a physician, I was under this impression that I was going to go through all this training, I was going to make all these sacrifices, and that at the end of it, I was going to add value to our society. I was going to be somebody who could take care of their community, who could make a real difference in the world. But in reality, it did not turn out to be like that at all. And I'm not saying I regret my decision of becoming a doctor, but I wish I knew a lot of this prior to going into training. Because once you commit to the medical world and being a physician, there's really no turning back, because it really starts off with the debt, the student loans. So most people, including myself, graduate from medical school with at least $300,000 to $500,000 in debt, student loans from just becoming a doctor and just from training to become a doctor. And so I don't think people realize how much in debt you go into as a physician in training.
I hear a lot about this, and it's not even just the doctor field, it's all the student loans and all that, but particularly for doctors and nurses and like any kind of medical staff that is going to be a big contributor to society, they need to, okay, fine, do the loans. But if this person happens to, graduate, get their degree, start practicing medicine, there should be some type of like incentive program or something like that where, the debt gets taken off like in sections or whatever. Oh, you went into this particular field, it's going to cost you this amount of money. You're in it, you're practicing, you're saving lives, and at the same time, your debt should just go down gradually. Keep payments if you need to, but like some incentive, like, hey, if you graduate from this field, you're practicing medicine, you're a doctor working in a hospital, you acquired $300,000 worth of debt, maybe more, I don't know. But after, 2 years of practicing, if you're still in there and you're current and all your payments, we'll take like 50,000 off. And then it builds up after time. But start shaving their debt off. I mean, these people are saving lives. They're contributing to society. We need nurses and doctors. What's going to happen when everyone starts quitting because they don't want to deal with the insurance companies? Who's going to be saving the lives? Who's going to be delivering babies? Who's going to be there to pull a bullet out of a chest, you know? I feel like I get the debt. I get it. But there should be some kind of program that knocks off the debt as these people are actually practicing in their field. Now, the average person who wants to rack up the $300,000 worth of debt and then quit, sorry, you know, just make your payments, do what you can do. Claim bankruptcy? I don't know if you can do that with like student loans. Anyways.
After the debt and getting through the debt and all of that that's associated with the training, you are also giving up the majority of your 20s and some of your 30s, depending on the specialty that you choose. So what does this mean? Undergrad, I did for 4 years. Medical school, I did for 4 years. And then you go into residency. My residency as an internal medicine physician was 3 years. So if you calculate that out from 18 until my early 30s, I was in training and really sacrificing a lot of my life. So most of my friends in this time period in their 20s and 30s are traveling, are starting their families, they're getting married, they're making great money in their jobs and in their careers, whereas us physicians are still in training, making probably less than minimum wage based on how many hours working in our residency program, and not able to start our lives until later in life, comparatively speaking to a lot of our peers and our friends. I'm seeing a lot of people leave the medical world altogether. A lot of physicians, I actually know a handful of doctors who are no longer practicing as physicians anymore because they're like, it is just not worth it. It has now become more corporate. Now everyone is replaceable. It seems like it doesn't matter. We're just another number. And if you're a hospitalist or if you're working for a healthcare system and you're not meeting your quotas or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing or you are not seeing enough patients, that it's just like, bye, everyone's replaceable, you're just a number. So we went into this career thinking, if I go into debt, if I sacrifice my 20s and my 30s, if I do all of this, it's going to be worth it because I'm going to be adding value and contributing to society in a good way. When in reality, that's not what's happening. Doctors have become numbers and we're just kind of thrown aside like everyone's replaceable. We don't get to make decisions anymore. Most decisions are made by insurance companies and what's covered and what they're willing to pay for. So even if we feel like a treatment is best for a patient, if they say it's not, then it's not. So it's become more complicated than that. So most physicians are just burned out, not feeling like they're really needed or doing what they really set out to do, and that is to make a difference and to do good by people. So yeah, I think that's why a lot of people are leaving medicine, specifically doctors, and not that I'm going to be leaving, but I do certainly understand why a lot of them have chosen to leave medicine.
I used to be a neurosurgeon. I went to college at MIT and did 4 years of medical school and 6 years of neurosurgery training. And
at the beginning of this, it did say he quit after 20 years. How old is this guy? He looks way younger than me.
And I was a neurosurgeon for almost 10 years after all of that. So that's 20 years of my life. And I quit. And I remember at the beginning of medical school, when I was just starting, there was a ceremony, and we all took a Hippocratic oath. And I remember there was one of the older faculty docs, and he said that your job as doctors is to relieve suffering. It's not to do a surgery or give a pill. It's to relieve suffering. That might be from doing a surgery or a pill, but it might be just listening, acknowledging what someone's going through. That stuck with me all through medical school. I'm not knocking any hospital or group that I worked with. I had the privilege to work with really amazing people in amazing hospitals, amazing institutions. But the way that everything is set up in the whole country, it's not any particular hospital. The way things are set up is that the hospital needs to make money. They need to make money. They need to grow economically. And the problem there is that if you figure out a way to help patients heal, and that way doesn't include a pill or a surgery, well, then the hospital and the doctor are in big trouble, because if you figure out a way to help people heal and you can't charge them for it, well, then you've just worked yourself out of a job. Most surgeons,
I should have included some of the clips. There's a lot of people reacting to this guy in particular, and a lot of them are people who worked with him. Apparently, this dude was a brilliant doctor. Like, he was really good at his job, and he quit. I mean, just like he was saying right here, I'm sure it's going to all add up to moral injury. But he was fine. He found ways to help people that did not have surgery or pills involved in it, and he was being forced to continue to do like the pill and surgery route. And it's kind of scary that they want us to be sick. They want us to be reliant on the meds. It all comes down even just to the food system, where they're using the GMOs, and they are using pesticides and doing all these dyes in our food that are causing cancer or illness or sickness, just so we can go to the hospital, just so the hospital can do a surgery, just so they can prescribe us on medicine, then the pharmaceutical company will get their money. I am and this is just me, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people think this way at the same time. I guarantee there is, obviously I can't 100% guarantee, this is just my opinion, there's a cure for cancer. Like, they have the immediate cure for cancer, but that's not profitable. They make billions off of the meds and like chemo and all that other stuff. So why would they cure something when they can just keep charging us money? And it's kind of sad. That's how our hospitals work. I also get tired of, and this has actually happened recently with the wife, where we took her in for a certain issue. I'm like, hey, while we're here, why don't you ask about this and this, since you got an appointment and it took a while to get that appointment. And she's like, no, we have to set up a separate appointment for that. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're at a doctor you've been seeing for years. Just ask the question. And at one point, I actually asked the question. He's like, well, set up another appointment. We can talk about it. Why the fuck can't you just talk about problems that patient has? How do you know that these other problems don't tie into the same problem that we're here for? Like, it's crazy. Like, when it comes to government, I want single issue bills. I don't care how long it takes. I do not care how long it takes. Everything needs to be a separate freaking issue. You know what? I'll even be generous. 2. But you know what? At the hospital, if you're in there, let people tell you their damn problems. All of it. So you can figure it out. Maybe they're all linked and you can fix all the problems in one sitting. But that's not profitable, I guess. So we're in the system that we are now.
they keep operating till they're 60, and at that time I was 38. I was like, I don't know how I can operate doing surgeries that I don't believe in. Even though I can do them very well, and I can help some people out. I helped out a number of people, but it was a moral dilemma or moral injury. I think there's the term moral injury. It was a moral injury, and it devastated me, and I kept going to work and I kept doing my best to do a good job, but it tore me up inside. And I knew that if I kept going back to that job every day for another 20 years, I would die before 20 years. My body and mind and soul, they would have just broken down, and I don't think I would have made it.
Docs are leaving medicine, and I am possibly might be one of them. The first time I actually thought about leaving medicine was at 33 years old. As long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a doctor, and I accomplished that dream at 30 years old and graduated and joined a practice that I thought was going to be forever. And while the care I provided to my patients was exceptional, because it came with a great toll, in that I am not the type of person or physician that can just put people in boxes, right? If you come to me with 3 problems and you're only scheduled to discuss one, but this one problem is related to the other 2, I'm not going to gatekeep and say we can't discuss all 3, because they are all related. Not gatekeeping that, I am losing time with my family by extra charting. I'm constantly late for my next patients, and the system is just not built to support you as a patient or me as the physician. Just 2.5 years into private practice, and I actually quit my job and really wasn't sure if I was ever going to go back. Now I'm just, to be transparent, a little heartbroken, a lot disappointed, dehumanized. Really just feel like this dream that I had of being a doctor, being the type of doctor that I need to be to practice medicine, just doesn't exist.
So I find it kind of crazy. I find it kind of crazy that, people have their childhood dreams. And a lot of these doctors, nurses, some of the testimonies that I saw, a lot of them, when they were kids, knew that they wanted to be doctors. And it must suck that you put yourself through school, you take on the debt, you finally achieve being a doctor or nurse or whatever it is you wanted to be, and because of the system crushes you, crushes your dreams, forces you out. Well, it doesn't really force you out, but it drives you, like the previous gentleman, that to the point where it wasn't worth it anymore, and they just leave the profession. I never really thought of it that way, but hospitals, I guess it's just a numbers game. Even cops say they don't got quotas, but apparently hospitals, I know cops have quotas, but hospitals should not have quotas. I understand that, it may take time to make it through people, but you should stop limiting to 15-minute visits, and, it's a numbers game. Get somebody in, get somebody out, get somebody in, get somebody out. I liked that lady in this last clip who wanted to sit there and discuss all the problems. I feel like that's how doctor visits should be. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys all think. Is the system really working? Is insurance really helping us? What are your thoughts of these brilliant doctors who are just fed up with the system, moral injury, morally drained, and they're leaving? What are we going to do when they all quit? I don't know. But anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts. Like, share, subscribe, do all that fun shit, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.